Welcome to Topic Chats. My name is Joe Kinley, speaker, coach, and author of my book, Anatomy of Your Decision Making. The purpose of Topic Chats is to provide you information on your unique decision-making process. But not only about the process, it's also about how the things that affect the choices that we make so that we can learn to make better decisions to get the outcomes we want. Once again, the information from Topic Chats is found in my book, Anatomy of Your Decision Making, which you can purchase on Amazon right now, also at Books A Million, but you can also reach it at kinleyspeaks.org. Pick up a copy, go through it, and you can see exactly what we're talking about in this book, in this video series. If you want to reach with me, to connect with me or partner, I can be reached at jkinley@kinleyspeaks.org. I can also be reached at my Facebook page, Joe Kinley Worldwide, or on my website, kinleyspeaks.org. If you're looking for an event speaker, workshop facilitator, or if you want a coach to help you with identifying your purpose, your strengths, contact me, Joe Kinley Worldwide on Facebook, or you can reach me at jkinley@kinleyspeaks.org. I want to give a special shout out to Tanisha H. Shaw, who's in my book in chapter 12. She has an online magazine called Optimal Living Magazine, and it's been out since 2008. And she inspires, gives insight and encouragement with the people that she interviews. And one of the things that she always says is you build it, bless others, and use wisdom and protect it. That's the gift and what she shares with others. So visit optimal-livingmagazine.com. and look what she has for you. Thank you for what you're doing, Tanisha. Continue to share. All right. So Topic Chats is about the 8 steps to powerful decision making. And in the 8 steps is a quick review. We have a source of information that influences us, and that influences the way we think. Our thinking affects the way we feel and our emotions. Our emotions affect the decisions that we make. The decisions lead to actions. Actions that are done continually lead to habits. And when we see habits continually, it leads to a person's character. And in character will either lead us to our destination or where we are right now. Okay. So if you haven't seen the previous 3 episodes, please go back to any of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn to get filled in and learn about the previous 3 episodes. But today we're going to be talking about actions and habits. But before we get into actions and habits, I wanted to recap from last week's episode where we discussed feelings and decisions. So feelings is an emotional state or reaction, okay? So feelings respond to our thoughts about the influence. So when we think about something, we have an emotional response to it, okay? And that emotional response will trigger the decisions that we make, or will have us weigh in on what decisions that we need to make, okay? Remember, this is all going towards a target though. So a decision is a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration, all right? And one thing that we need to be aware of when it comes to feelings, feelings can change at any time. So we don't always want to base decisions off of an initial feeling or an emotional state. We need to think objectively before we make the decision, because there's always consequences to the actions, to the decisions that we make when we act on them. So this week we're talking about actions and habits. So to define, action is the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim. So when we talked about your feelings or your emotions, that led us to where we want to focus on. You know, we had a source of influence that got our attention. And then after we got our attention, we started thinking about why it got our attention. And then it talks about how it makes us feel about what we're seeing. And now we have to decide what we're going to do about it. And now we're about to act on that. Okay. So when we act, we're actually putting it into motion. The decision didn't put it into motion. It just aimed towards a direction. Now, action is the act of doing something about it. It's a corresponding action to that decision. Okay. On your mark, get set, go. As a former track runner, I know when I was on my mark on that line, when they said set, the last step was for me to go. And that's your action. Once that gun went off, we moved. And that's what you do when it comes to actions. So remember, once a decision is made, the next step is the corresponding action. That's we aimed for the decision. Now we're moving towards the target. So in this example, when we're talking about archery, you have your bow and arrow, you posture your body towards the target where you want it to go. Okay, so you made a decision, and then the action is moving that the arrow back to put tension on that spring, on the string, excuse me, and then you release it. Okay, and as you release it, that arrow is to go towards a specific target. All right, so when that's done, that's your action. Your body is moved in a position based on a decision, and then you respond by what you need to do in order to get to your goal or your mark. All right. So your actions can lead to habits. And a habit is a tendency to practice, especially one that's hard to give up. All right. So, for example, transparent moment, if I were at work and is it just a busy day, or it could be just a regular day, and I have a routine to come home, to sit down, eat, watch TV, chill, go to sleep, and then repeat it all over again the next day. That's a habit. It's a habit based on what I normally do. It's not always a healthy habit, but it's a habit. Okay. And then you realize sometimes with habits that aren't good, it can lead to undesired consequences. So for example, if I kept eating and not exercising and sitting down watching TV, ultimately I may gain weight. I may lose focus on some things I need to focus on. I may not be able to challenge myself to go higher or better if my habits aren't aimed at something better. It's just a routine that we all go through. So it's important to be aware of those habits. Okay. And once again, like I said, I do this all the time. There's a cue. What is it that you normally do that turns into a routine, and you get your reward by how you feel about it, and it becomes a habit. It's just a habit. So we need to be aware of our habits so that we don't continue to go in a cycle that's really leading to not where we want to go. Like I shared last week in last week's video, when it comes to your attitude, and also like a plane that goes off the flight plan 1 degree and doesn't make the adjustment, it's not going to land where it needs to go. So it's very important to adjust our attitude and adjust our habits so that we stay focused and on target to where we want to be intentionally. That's important. And in my book, I also shared a story about how there's a person that cuts the end of their ham off, and their spouse was asking a question: why do you cut the ends of your ham when you cook it? This is, well, that's the way my mom taught me. All right. So why does your mom cut the ends of the ham like that? Well, that's the way her grandmom taught her. Okay. So you see that it's a habit. It was taught, it was passed down, and that's what they do. But the grandmother, the reason why she cut the ends of the ham off is because the pan was too small to fit the whole ham. That doesn't mean that, her daughter or the granddaughter didn't have a big enough ham. They just did it based on what they were told or what they were taught. So we have to be careful. Are the habits that we're doing, relevant to our focus and what we are trying to accomplish today? Those are probably good ends of meat that could have been used for something. But regardless, that's an example of habits. Okay. So that was a warning about habits. And I just wanted you to be clear with an example how habits can take you down the wrong direction. But on the other side, habits can take you in the right direction if you're focused on what you want to do. If you wake up, you have a regimen in the morning, whether it's exercise, praying, meditating, whatever it is, so that you're prepared for your day, you're mentally focused, you're set. There's nothing wrong with that because you know what you're tuning into. All right. It's actually providing you value when you do stuff like that, compared to when you do things that don't add value and you're just doing it out of repetition or just out of tradition or rituals. So you need to be aware, is it benefiting you one way or another? So once again, this was about actions and habits. Next week, we'll be talking about your character as a result of your habits leading to your destination or your disposition. So I'm hope you're seeing the connection between all of these steps that lead you somewhere. I just wanted to provide you some information to add value to you, and also that you can use and apply it into your everyday life. Once again, I try to post this every week. So tune in next week for the next episodes. And once again, if you haven't seen any of the prior episodes, go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, take a look at them, see how they make sense. And I look forward to seeing with you and being with you next week. You guys have a great week, or create something special out of it. Talk to you later.